Welcome to Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Casey Porter here, joined by Austin Brubaker. Austin, it is getting ready to what in Michigan?
It is, yes. So let me preface this a little bit. I was not supposed to be on a show today. I was supposed to be in Lansing, Michigan to watch the Loons play the Lugnuts. That game just went final after 6 innings because there's weather in the forecast. And currently right now where I'm living, it's snowing. It is April 9th, and it is snowing. The baseball season has started, but that has not stopped the snow from falling here in the great state of Michigan. But, Casey, it's great to see you. I'm excited to be on the show, talk a little bit of Dodgers baseball. I have not really had a chance to do it a whole lot. Haven't had an opportunity because I've been at a lot of these Loon games. Should be at the games tomorrow and Friday. To be able to do my normal shows on Monday or to do a whole lot of these shows. So I'm excited to be able to digest a little bit the Dodgers season, maybe some of the minor league action as well, and just really talk more about this Dodgers team.
Yeah. Lashiva Jones says, congratulations to the multi-talented Kike Hernandez. What a play in the 9th inning. Wow. Hey, Blake Trinan, he's got me a little worried. He has not looked as good as he normally does. Of course, it's early. He's a veteran. He's probably trying to, he knows how to pace himself, that kind of thing. Boy, so the two guys that we've been on the hardest, okay, on the entire team have been Kike Hernandez, Andy Pages. Both made terrific plays, which the Andy Pages thing was no surprise. Again, if he's coming in on a ball, if he's going left or right, he is going to be just fine. He's plenty good enough of an athlete. Again, it's just the one over his head right at him, or any ball that's hit on a line right at him, that's going to get him. So that play didn't surprise me, but it was great to see baseball. Again, this is why you can't get too high and too low, right? Because there's always the next day. And Andy Pages with a huge home run, and then a big play, and then Kike Hernandez with the game-saving play. The Dodgers don't win without that play.
They do not win without that play. Well, I'm sure we'll get into, because I have a lot of thoughts as far as the Andy Pages deal too. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit, because I'm sure there will be a lot of comments about that. But that play by Kike Hernandez during the 9th inning, in which I think it was, runners on first and second with one out, and then he made that diving play, threw it over to second base on what was a gutsy play as a first baseman to be able to do that. But really, that was the one play that Kike Hernandez could make in a moment in which the Dodgers needed it. This series did not go the way that the Dodgers had anticipated or wanted it to go at all. When you're going into the Washington Nationals Stadium during a team, Washington Nationals, who are fun. They've got a lot of young talent, which you got to see firsthand, not to the Dodgers' benefits, them really go out there and perform. Washington Nationals, they gave the Dodgers everything that they could possibly handle, and the Dodgers felt like they needed to get this win. They were on a slump. They were sliding back a little bit, but for Kike Hernandez to go up, to step up in that moment was so huge for him. What an amazing play by him. And then before that, just the plays by Andy Pages, the hit by Teoscar Hernandez to give the Dodgers a lead. Just phenomenal performance by the Dodgers, who struggled early in this game. They started off fast, then they struggled during the middle parts of the game. They found a way to win, and that's what winning baseball teams do.
Yeah. Agreed. And we have a comment from Lashiva Jones that Kirby Yates was awesome. Well, how awesome was the bullpen, period? But Kirby Yates, try this on for size. His splitter had a 67% whiff rate today. 67%. Now, fine. If you don't throw strikes, they're not going to swing at it. We've seen that with Roki Sasaki with his splitter, correct? So here's the key to just how pro Kirby Yates is. He only threw 5 fastballs. So he only throws enough fastballs, 4-seam fastballs, just to keep it in the hitter's minds. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so when he does throw a fastball, he has to throw a strike with it. Because if they don't have to swing at his fastball, they're just going to spit on a splitter. They're not going to swing at it. So if he can steal strikes with that fastball, get in pitchers' counts, now hitters can't just lay off the splitter. They have to look at it, they have to honor it, and they have to swing at it. So he threw 5 4-seam fastballs, 4 of them were strikes, which meant he got ahead in the count those times. Once he got ahead in the count, he forced the Nats to swing at his splitter, and when they swung at his splitter, 67% of the time they missed. So that's just a totally pro line. Totally pro performance from Kirby Yates. Could not agree more. We will get into the Landon Knack thing. Actually, I've had a chance to communicate with Robo today. I shot him a message, just nothing just other than, hey, brother, wanted to shoot you some support, man. I know these kind of things really piss you off, and they add fuel to your fire. And I'll say this, I think Robo's grown up. I mean, I think he has kind of understood the objective here that, okay, well, I was probably going down either way. The outing sucked. I got stuff to work on. Plenty of time. I'll be back up. He'll go down and figure it out. So I was very impressed with the way that he responded. And then Landon Knack today, just not enough strikes. I saw Landon Knack at Oklahoma City the other night. It was the same performance. I mentioned it on the Down on the Farm. The knuckle curve was wild. I mean, he landed a couple, but then he just yanked a couple only left high. The fastballs weren't riding the top of the zone well enough. He gave up the home run on the fastball up, and just not nearly enough strikes. And so Landon Knack, what he has to do, he has to stay what's called staying on schedule. So like on a football game, and I'm getting long-winded. I'll bring it back to you here in Austin here in a second. So teams that like to run the ball, they have to be 1st and 10, 2nd and 6, 3rd and 2. If they get off schedule and have a penalty, and then all of a sudden it's 1st and 15, 2nd and 10, 3rd and 8, they don't throw the ball well enough to overcome if they get off schedule. That's Landon Knack, right? So Landon Knack can be very effective if he stays on schedule. Counts 0-1, 1-1, 1-2. Now it's his advantage. He can pitch and have success at the major league level. But if he doesn't stay on schedule and he gets behind the count, his stuff isn't explosive enough to get major league hitters out when he's down 2-1, 3-1 in the count, and then after he's walked a guy. And that's exactly what happened to him today. Sorry, I got long-winded there.
Yeah, no, you're totally fine. First off, this does not give any sort of indication as far as the talent that each one of these guys had. Both Robo and Landon Knack are incredibly talented, and they're going to be in the big leagues for a long time. With Justin Robleski, obviously yesterday was a bit of a struggle. You got to give him props for the way that he grinded out there and was able to provide the Dodgers some innings and just take the brunt of a lot of the blow when clearly he did not have the stuff that he has. He knows what he's got to work on, and he's going to be back in no time when the Dodgers are going to need him. With Landon Knack, it just came down to he was just not able to execute a lot of his stuff. Didn't really get a help a whole lot. I remember that one pitch that was right in there and quite a bit in the strike zone. That you're going to get those type of calls every so often. And that
throw a better pitch afterwards. If I'm a manager, that's what I say to him.
That is exactly correct. And he just was not able to execute, and things kind of unraveled for him. It sounds like he's going to get another opportunity during the next time around through the rotation, just because of the needs that the Dodgers have right now with Blake Snell on the injured list. So he'll have a chance real quick to be able to try to rebound and try to reestablish himself to the pitcher that we know that he is. Look, this is a guy who was very reliable throughout the entire 2024 season when the Dodgers needed him, and I fully expect him to be that type of pitcher going forward. It just comes down to being able to execute, in which he was not able to do today.
Yeah, and the thing that's kind of frustrating about it is that he's getting an opportunity. He's supposed to be a high floor guy, meaning, hey, at the very least, he's going to throw you strikes. He's going to make the other team beat you. He's going to be in the zone with probably 2 pitches, maybe 3 on a day, and then on a really good day, 4 pitches, land all 4 of them for a strike. That's going to be the floor, and then the ceiling can be, well, he is landing all 4 pitches. Now he can actually go 5 or 6 innings at the major league level and have a really good day. So that's the type of guy he's supposed to be, and the thing that's frustrating to me is that the floor lowered. Does that make sense? I hate to be critical or negative of it or any of that. Just trying to be honest here that what he did today is exactly what his reputation is that he doesn't do. Does that make sense?
It was uncharacteristic.
Yes, very good way to put it. Yes.
Very uncharacteristic, and you wouldn't assume that this is going to be something that it's going to be a continuing trend for him, because this is not the type of pitcher that Landon Knack is. It is something, once you see something that is uncharacteristic, to just keep an eye out for, to see if this becomes just from an uncharacteristic outing to a bit more of a trend. That is what you have to look out for, is to see if this starts becoming a little bit of a trend. If it's just one bad outing that Landon Knack had, in which case he struggled a lot with the command and was not that high floor type of player, then you can go ahead and move on and feel confident that Landon Knack is going to be the pitcher that we all expect him to be, because that's the pitcher that he has proved to be going forward. And so I have full confidence, because of what I've seen through this point of Landon Knack's career, that he's going to be able to return to that. He's got some things to work out, and he's got a lot of work to do.
So the Dodgers option Matt Sauer and Justin Robleski. Landon Knack got brought up, so that leaves you one spot. Who's that going to go to?
I'm trying to remember exactly how things are working as far as the math
Is
and
my
stuff
math
right
off
now.
there?
So I believe Landon Knack took Justin Robleski's spot, and if I'm not mistaken, with the Matt Sauer, I think it might have been Justin Robleski that took Matt Sauer's spot.
That's just a domino. Okay.
Yeah, I think those were the dominoes that fell into place, because right now, just looking at FanGraphs with 13 pitchers on the staff, Yamamoto, Sasaki, Glasnow, May, Knack, and then the bullpen with Dreyer and Garcia. So I think everything should be all set with all of the pitchers. I don't think they have anybody to be able to call up. So then that brings in an interesting conversation, particularly towards the middle of next week, about next Wednesday. So I think the rotation is going to go out is going to be Yamamoto Friday, Sasaki Saturday, Glasnow Sunday. Then on Monday, it's going to be May, then Knack on Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be a game where they would have to figure out something. You could perhaps option Landon Knack then, and then call somebody else up. One thing to keep in mind when bringing guys up and bringing guys down, which I know that the Dodgers have to keep in mind, is there is a limited amount of times that the Dodgers can option these guys down to the minor leagues and bring them back up. And they have to wait, 15 days before they can bring up some of the pitchers back up to the major league level. So it's not just a up, down, up, down, up, down constantly. There's a limiting factor that they have to consider when doing
they call
the
that
math.
the Dodgers rule, by the way.
I know. That's because the Dodgers
5 times the limit, by the way.
Yes, five times is the limit of what they're going to be able to bring guys up and bring guys down. So that is something to keep in mind with somebody like Justin Robleski. If they bring him up again and only have him go for the one start, that is limiting some of the times that you're going to be able to utilize him in the future. So that's something that they have to keep in mind with roster construction.
So we have a question or a statement here from Esteban. One of my childhood friends, younger brother is Jordan Thompson, young man, shortstop, middle infield prospect out of LSU. Good player, good athlete.
Oh, he's a really good player. I had the chance to be able to see him last Friday and Saturday for opening weekend, and then yesterday as well. I believe he had a home run in there. I don't remember which day that was that he had the home run, but got to see that. Really, really solid player. To be able to be added to that club. I'm really excited to be able to continue to see him grow at the minor league level in this Dodgers organization.
Yeah, here he is. Here's a little bit of Jordan Thompson from last year right there. That is the Jordan Thompson that you were talking about right there, who is currently with the Great Lakes Loons. He's at the high A level. So I wanted to show you a video of him as we had a comment about Jordan Thompson. So I'll say this. It's kind of one of those deals we talked about the other day. Can't remember the pitcher's name. All these games are running together, but Enriquez or somebody like that for the Nats, whoever the starting pitcher was. He was a ground ball pitcher. The Dodgers were a home run team. Something had to give. Teo hits the home run in the first inning. So today, you're not supposed to lose a game when you score 4 runs before the other team ever hits. You're not supposed to lose that game. But then you're also not supposed to win a game when your starting pitcher doesn't give you a quality start on the road like Landon Knack didn't. So something had to give, which is why the game was so close. And that something that gave was that from the first inning on, the Dodgers won with their marginal players. Andy Pages and, well, of course, their bullpen. Dodgers won with the Dawgs in the bullpen, and then their marginal players with Andy Pages and Kike Hernandez. So that was a whole lot of fun. And I'll say this, Austin, the home run in the whatever inning it was, let me pull that up. What inning was that? The 5th inning? I don't have it right here. Let me get to it. The home run, 7th inning, sorry. The home run by Andy Pages in the 7th inning, the 2 spot, that was huge, okay? I can't tell you, there's a saying in baseball that a home run's a rally killer. It's so hard to regenerate a rally after somebody hits a home run. It's like, so I'll give you the example. Like when a storm rolls in and you have this squall line that runs through, and then this big storm, it rains really hard, thunder, lightning, you have wind. And then once that squall line comes through on the other end, it's just calm and as quiet as can be. So hitting a home run is kind of like that squall line coming through. It's like it came through like a mad dash. You struck, you had all this craziness. So regenerating a storm after that is really difficult to do. So the Dodgers regenerated an inning after the home run with a couple of singles. Mookie Betts had a single, and then you had just a couple of really nice hits to regenerate a rally after the home run. That actually was the difference in the game. That's the Dodgers team I'm talking about right there.
Yeah, it's being able to build off each other. It is that resilient club. It started off first with the bullpen being able to shut it down. Jack Dreyer continues to go out there and continues to put up zeros. It is not surprising to us because we've seen it quite a bit at the minor league level, but it continues to be incredibly impressive for him adapting to the big league journey, big league career just so quickly to the point where you talk about these options up and down, keeping fresh arms. They want to keep Jack Dreyer up there because he is doing so well at the big league level. It was not just him, though. It was the entire bullpen, which goes back to the day before when Justin Robleski, who despite did not have a good performance, was able to provide them length, and then they did not have to utilize all of their relievers. They did not have to turn that into a bullpen game. They only used 3 arms, which means your entire arsenal of bullpen arms was available. And when you have the full disposal of the Dodgers bullpen with as lethal as it is, you are going to be able to shut down games. And that's exactly what the Dodgers bullpen was able to do. They were able to overpower this Nationals lineup, which had a ton of success against this Dodgers team. And then you had unlikely contributors. Let's talk a little bit about Andy Pages and that home run, because to this point of the season, it has been a bit of a struggle. And I hear the rumor.
No, not a bit. A struggle.
It has been a bit of a struggle. To enter in the game today, I think had a 78 WRC plus, but that's added onto the performance that he had the day before. I'm sure the number will be relatively around the same, might go up a little bit after today. But the rumblings from a lot of fans and stuff is they're sick of Andy Pages because of some of the struggles that he has on the periphery. Andy Pages, as we've talked about quite a bit, we believe is profiles the best as a corner outfielder.
Yes.
The way that the Dodgers roster has constructed, and this is something that was intentionally done during the course of the offseason because they had the opportunity to, one, go ahead and re-sign Teoscar Hernandez, which I think that all Dodgers fans agreed was the correct decision, or at least something that they wanted to happen. And so far to this point of the season has been a good thing. They also decided, and this was the other domino that fell, decided to get Michael Conforto as well, which was another corner outfielder, which forced Andy Pages to be a center fielder as part of this club. So if you want Andy Pages as part of your club, he has to be a center fielder. And there is a lot of learning curves, to say the least, with him in the outfield. There has also been a lot of struggles on the base running. And so to this point, I'm sure he can feel the weight of not just being a young player in the Major League Baseball, which I'm sure is already heavy, not just learning a position of which I don't think is completely 100% natural in center field, in which he has played mostly corner outfield through the course of his minor league career. Just the struggle and weight of all of that coming onto his shoulder, and for him to be able to step up in that moment and be able to start that rally and hit that home run was absolutely huge. When it comes to these young players and when it comes to just early season baseball, this is a principle that I try to preach quite a bit.
Yeah.
Patience.
Yes.
Be patient with these guys. I know it is easy to overreact. However, we are still, 14 games into the season. We have barely gotten a little bit of a sample size. If you remember back to the 2024 season, the Dodgers gave a player like a James Outman until, I believe, May 16th to try to figure things out, a full month and a half plus to be able to see if he could be able to rebound from a lot of his struggles. They gave Gavin Lux a large, significant portion, basically the entire season, to be able to figure things out during last season as well. And for a player like an Andy Pages, who they understand based on the fact that he only has one minor league option left, based on the fact that you look at future Dodgers teams and there is perhaps a need for a right-handed hitter, and with the power potential that Andy Pages has and with what we've seen from his bat at the minor league level, there's implications if the Dodgers decide to make a rash decision and to send him down right now that could have implications for the future, especially if you want to base that on such a short sample size. Be patient with these guys. Trust the process. I know it's not a popular opinion because we like to make decisions quickly or we like to have quick fixes. Well, I'm not sure if there's necessarily the quick fix there if you want to develop these guys properly. If you want Andy Pages to grow sometime to a big league player, he has to at some point be able to consistently face big league pitching and be able to see what he's going to be.
He can't be afraid to fail. These guys can't be afraid to fail, which if you just yank them back to the minor leagues every time they fail, they're going to be afraid to fail. And that's the worst thing that can happen in baseball.
Which I know can be a little seem hypocritical if you want to say, well, we want to have a merit-based system, and this guy is struggling a little bit. Sometimes you have to give guys patience. You have to give guys time to be able to struggle if you want to see the other side and if you want to see them grow into the players that we know that they can become at some point. And I think with Andy Pages at this point, yes, there are some struggles, and I know he does not fit necessarily perfectly with this Dodgers team. He's not a great outfielder in center field, and you already have two outfielders that are not great defensively. Perhaps that is something that they look into a little bit later in the season. He has not been a good base runner at all to this point of the season. That has to be cleaned up. But you have to give these players at least some time to be able to figure this thing out. And especially if you're working on developing guys at the minor league level who maybe at some point could be better than an Andy Pages. All I'm going to say with this is be patient with this process and let things play out a little bit before making some rash decision. Always try to make decisions based on the information that you have, but give it time to be able to get a large enough sample size to make smart decisions. And I think that's the thing with Andy Pages. As far as concerning things with him, obviously the defense, obviously the base running. The thing that I would look at most, and especially with early season statistics, I usually look at the expected data. What does the expected numbers look on some of the batted balls? That's where I'm probably the most concerned, just because I kind of knew that other stuff with Andy Pages. Some of the expected numbers don't necessarily look great. We'll see what it looks like after the game today with the home run added into some of those numbers as well. But with this process of these young players being able to come up, let them develop into becoming major league players, give them a large enough sample. And if they continue to struggle over a large enough sample, then you can talk about other decisions as far as where they want to go. So it becomes a point of where do you draw the line? And I think the Dodgers are wise enough not to draw the line at under 15 games or about 15 games.
100 at bats. That's where they draw the line. That's what they've shown in the past. Somewhere around 100 at bats. 100 at bats is a pretty good sample size. And I'll say this about Andy. Okay, I mean, hey, the center field deal, I got his back. We told you all offseason how that was going to go. We've also told you many different times he's streaky. He goes through long periods of time where he does not play good offense. He's done that his entire minor league career. Then you wait it out, and then he'll go a stretch where he's like carrying the offense. He gets on a tear. He very well could go on a tear and have 2 weeks that are just awesome, and then he'll have another 3 weeks that aren't. I mean, that is what Andy Pages has always been. He's never been the guy that every day gets you two hits. He's not that guy. He's the guy that gets hot, carries an offense. He gets cold, fans want to dump him. That's what Andy Pages has always been. And I'll say this. So I got his back on the offense. We've told you exactly the type of offensive player he's been. That's the type of offensive player you're getting at the major league level. And because he hasn't got hot yet, he's getting the exact defense we told you he was going to give you. So I got his back on the defense. I got his back on the offense because I played this game. I've coached it at it a lot. I know how hard this game is. I got his back on both of those. I can't defend the base running. I mean, if the Dodgers wanted to send him down to AAA Oklahoma City just solely because they're pissed at him because he can't run the bases correctly, I would have no issues with that. There are so many guys in this system that are fighting. I mean, Ryan Ward's just stuck. I haven't seen Ryan Ward make a base running mistake like that, okay? Cody Hosey is stuck. I haven't seen Cody Hosey make a mistake like that. I mean, there are so many guys in the system that have worked so hard and put in so much time. I'll go as far as to say when Andy Pages doesn't run the bases correctly with the opportunity he's being given, that's disrespectful because that's not like physical. So whenever you get mad at a player, it's not whenever they make a mistake physically. It's whenever mentally they're making mental mistakes. Base running mistakes are avoidable because they're mental mistakes. I have zero patience for them whenever you have all these guys that are fighting for all these positions. The Dodgers are trying to win a World Series. So I'll say, hey, I got Andy's back on the offense. I'll be patient with it for the 100 at-bats or whatever. I got his back on the defense. Whenever he looks crazy on one hit right over his head, it's not going to surprise me. I can't take the base running. He's got to clean that up yesterday. That's where I'm at on him.
Yeah, totally fair. That is some things that he definitely has to clean up, and he has to clean it up immediately. What can you say about it? It has cost the Dodgers some runs.
It's mental. I can't defend mental mistakes.
Yes, and there's nothing that I can be able to say with that.
Yeah.
The difficulty with that is the position of Andy Paz, and where I'm taking this is just from a roster construction standpoint. It has to do with the position of which Andy Pages plays, or the position, I should say, that the Dodgers have an opening in, and that is center field. That, unfortunately, is not a position in which a Ryan Ward, who is hitting incredibly well in Oklahoma City right now, has the ability to be able to play. And since they brought in Teoscar and Conforto, there's really not an opening for Ryan Ward unless he plays maybe first base if there's an extended period of time with Freddie Freeman. And so you're talking about other options that could potentially be there in center field, where there is a James Outman who has been struggling a little bit. You would have more of the defense. You would have more of the base running, which if you want to have that out there, that could be an argument to be able to solidify this team. This goes back to the very same argument that we had at the end of spring training as far as Andy Pages versus James Outman. Which one would you rather have on your team? Would you rather have that offense, or would you rather have the defense and maybe the base running as well? It all depends on if Andy Pages is able to hit, because that is the thing that could distinguish him from James Outman. If Andy Pages is struggling, then you would take James Outman because at least he has the other two things in his arsenal in his game. And then that brings up the question of a player like a Ha-Seong Kim, who my guess with where they're going with him, which I know that there's a lot of fans that are keep pushing for Ha-Seong Kim to immediately be called up to the big leagues and immediately send down Andy Pages, which Ha-Seong Kim, solid defender from all that I've heard about, really good speed, should be a solid base runner. I think it's one of those things where the Dodgers, they don't want to rush call up players to the big leagues before they're ready, before they feel like they have completed their game, in order to make sure that they're ready. With a player like a Ha-Seong Kim, I think there are still signs that there's a little bit of swinging miss in his bat, which could be something that they might want to look into. Could be something where they want to give him additional time in center field to be able to get that additional reps in the outfield.
Yeah, he's playing most of the infield, but
it's been second base, shortstop, center field, a mix of all of those different positions for Cam. I think they want to make sure that he's as ready as possible, and not just this one player is struggling, we'll go ahead and send him down, which, by the way, Andy Pages is not the player that's struggling the most offensively on this team. There is other players that, if you look at just numbers, WRC plus entering the game today, that are struggling more than he is. Kike is struggling more than he is. WRC
Which we expect
plus,
from Kike in the regular season,
during the regular season, but not to this extent, especially because fans talked about so much about him hitting with glasses. This is still a little bit of a struggle, still leaning a little bit more into the numbers he had put over the regular season. I think he can figure it out. I think he'd be a solid postseason hitter. Max Muncy's really struggling right now, which is somebody that I've defended quite a bit. Miguel Rojas is struggling as well. Chris Taylor's not getting a whole lot of opportunities. He probably won't get a whole lot of opportunities to this point based on the way that they played him so far. And so you're talking about a large part of this team that is struggling offensively, and the options that you could call up, either you might be rushing a Hae-Sung Kim, in which case you're taking a pretty big gamble on potentially delaying some of his development just so that you could call him up to the big leagues to replace an Andy Pages, or you could call up a James Outman who you wouldn't expect to out-hit an Andy Pages immediately, or perhaps you could have a different opinion as far as that, but James Outman is struggling a little bit right now.
He's struggling a lot,
Or there's a Esteri Ruiz who by the way,
Justin Dean would be a good option. He'd have to be added to the 40-man. Dodgers fans would like Justin Dean.
He had a cannon for an arm in the outfield from what I saw with him. He's really fast too. That's just one of those players where I don't know if the Dodgers would necessarily do that or open up a 40-man spot for him.
Why go get him for your system then? I mean, that's the question I have for like Andre Lipsius and guys like that. Why go get a Justin Dean if he performs and does exactly what he's supposed to? You're still to have no plans of ever giving him a shot. I mean, he's been in pro baseball since 2018. And I mean, he's right now he's hitting 250. He has a WRC plus that's about league average. His K percentage is almost 40%. That's the Drew Avens thing. That's why they never brought up Drew Avens, because his K percentages were always high, and his batting averages weren't quite good enough. But if you look at Hae-Sung Kim, his strikeout percentage is 28.9%. His walk rate's only 8.9%. Now, he does have a WRC plus of 125, so right now he is 25% above league average, and he is hitting 308. But it's a small sample size, and some of those metrics would tell you they're going to level themselves out, and you're not exactly sure what you're going to have, like, say, a month from now. Does that make sense to you? And you don't want to know what if that's going to turn out to level out, come back down. You don't want that to be at the major league level, and that'd be his first experience with the Dodgers. So I'm totally on board with the way they're handling Hae-Sung Kim. And also, to just button up the Andy Pages talk, we'll move on to some funner topics here in just a second. I'll say this, and I've seen the guy, and I love the guy. I've interviewed the guy. I'm a fan of his, no doubt about it. But the nonchalant crap's got to stop, man. I mean, it's just his nonchalant attitude towards everything drives me insane. It's just, it doesn't match my eye. To me, at times, I'm not offended or anything, but it's like, dude, you got picked over everybody else in the system to be the dude that's getting this chance, and those are your mannerisms? That's the amount of effort you're going to put into your base running? So from that perspective, I have a little harder time defending him because of the nonchalantness and some of the ways that some of the mistakes that he makes that, to me, are disrespectful to the opportunity he's getting. That's a little bit hard, but hey, this is the Dodgers, man. We have a lot of people that want his position. Millions of people would love to be Andy Pages right now. So kind of what I'm saying is, if you don't like what I'm saying, then change it. Get better. Do better. Have better mannerisms. Don't be nonchalant. Don't make bad. I'm not saying one thing about the physical play. Baseball's too hard for me to criticize what he's actually doing physically on the field. I'm saying clean up the mannerisms, clean up the base running. At that point, as a fan, I will feel more inclined to have your back. Kind of hard, wasn't it?
Totally fair. And he's surrounded by a lot of leaders in this clubhouse. And I know a lot of people are pouring into Andy Pages to try to get him to the player that he's always had the potential of being. And it is let's wait and see if he's able to turn into that type of player. The past couple of games have been really solid, and I'm excited to see what he's able to do going forward. Definitely a lot of stuff to clean up, some frustrating stuff like if you could get this right, you could turn into just being an even better player, turn into the player that the Dodgers need you to be.
Clean up the way you look is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see what he's going to be able to do. I fully expect the Dodgers to give him more extended run time, not just because he had a good couple of games, but because I think they try to give their players as much run time as they possibly can to see if they're going to be the players that the Dodgers expect them to be. And then if they are not, then they can go ahead and make a decision. None of this is saying that this is Andy Pages should be the center fielder for the entire season. It is let's give it more time to make the correct decision. Because if you pull the plug immediately, and let's say that you give the reins to a Hae-Sung Kim, who has only had 10-ish games down at the minor league level, that could be a decision that you might be rushing him up too quickly, or you might be pulling the plug on Andy Pages too quickly, in which case there is consequences for doing so, and that might not be the wisest decision. So take your time with a lot of this. Give him the opportunities to be able to prove himself, but force him to be able to prove that he is the player that you expect him to be, and then go from there and make the corrected make decisions from there as far as what's going to be best for the Dodgers of 2025 and the Dodgers of future.
So I just hope this doesn't sound arrogant, but I hope somebody in the system had the exact conversation that I just had with him. Hey, we're trying to have your back. Here's what I see, that kind of deal. So let's move on. So the first inning, I cannot tell you how many times in the game of baseball a team comes out just firing all cylinders. They're hot. They're excited, which, by the way, the Dodgers have been struggling. No better medicine to score a 4 spot in the first freaking inning than to get over a patch where you're struggling, which is great. But I can't tell you how many times I've seen a team come out hot and score a couple of runs early on, and they're all excited. And I mean, it's like they get on a sugar high, right? And then what happens after a sugar high? Crash. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that in a game of baseball. Which is why when the Dodgers were in the middle of the first inning, I kept saying, you can't settle for 1, you can't settle for 2. So when Teo hit the home run, I was like, oh, thank God they actually put the 4 spot on the board. So when they come down off the sugar high and they sugar crash, they'll have enough of a cushion to maybe be able to ride it to the finish line. So finishing that first inning was huge because it's so hard. You know, like we talked about regenerating offense after a home run. After you score a 4 spot, just from you're a statistician, from a mathematical perspective, everybody who's supposed to get hits did. And so the statistics would tell you the next time they come up, they're not going to, which is, I mean, there's a way to actually explain that. So putting the 4 spot up and finishing the inning with a 4 instead of a 1 or 2 really went a long way to winning that game.
Yeah, no, all of those extra runs, those crooked numbers, as it is described, which is in large part the theory behind hitting some of those home runs. Why I saw a lot of these hitters are trying to go for a little bit more launch angle, trying to hit some of those home runs, because as soon as you add those crooked numbers, it becomes that much more difficult to be able to overcome that, especially if you're trying to overcome that with a whole bunch of base hits, because then you're trying to do things right consecutively after consecutively after consecutively. And you would anticipate with the Dodgers scoring those 4 runs immediately from some of the guys that have carried this offense or done really well through this point of the season, that the Dodgers were sitting pretty. The Dodgers are in a good spot because most of the time when they're in that spot, they're going to win that game and pretty handily. But as you said, there's those times when you score a lot early and then it becomes a bit of a drought in as a valley in which you're not able to score a run. So it was a little bit of a struggle for the Dodgers because then they gave up a couple of runs, and then it became a battle for this offense just to get back out there and continue to grind out there. Baseball is an incredibly difficult sport, and this is something that is reminded to each one of these guys where on paper the Dodgers, you would anticipate them to win a vast majority of the games that they're going to go against, but yet we're reminded every single year that baseball is incredibly difficult and you're going to have a lot of losses through the point of the season. I'm just glad that the Dodgers were able to overcome this one and be able to find a way to win.
So put your statistician hat on, which I don't think you ever take it off, do you?
No, not at all.
You're thinking statistics all day long, aren't you? You fall asleep to statistics, right?
I dream about them every single night.
You're seriously, man. I mean, the way that you're able to explain advanced analytics and statistics to old people like me that aren't always totally willing to learn something new, it's amazing. So put on your statistics hat. I think I said that right. Yes, you got it on. Okay. Yeah. And analyze this Dodgers offense from a statistical perspective. What is this offense so far?
It is a very good question. So it is a lot of what I anticipated some of the offense to be. Not completely, but a lot of. There's a lot of thump in this offense, meaning there's a lot of guys that can hit for power. Just a lot of guys I did not expect to hit for power. Tommy Edman did not expect to this point for him to hit for as much power as he has been. But there's a lot of guys that can really pound the baseball quite a bit. It was also a patient offense that's going to go out there and try to grind out a lot of different at-bats. It's also an offense that has been struggling a little bit just with getting some of those base hits, which in part you can say to a little bit of bad luck. I think I was looking at some of the team stats entering the game today, and I think they had a 250 something batting average on balls in play as a team, which typically that is around 300 is the league average when you get a large enough sample size.
That's weird because they hit the ball hard.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where it's since they have a 250 batting average of balls in play, that either means that their quality of contact is not quite as good, and that's going to lead to a lot of low batting average when they hit the ball in play, or that just means that they might be getting a little bit unlucky, and that could correct itself a little bit later, which usually is what happens when you're talking about batting average and balls in play, and especially for the Dodgers team, which has a lot of guys that hit the ball pretty well.
Do you have any average exit velos for the different teams? Do you know the way to look that up?
I don't know. I can perhaps try to look that up a little bit, see if there's anything. I don't know exactly.
That would be the telling number. If the Dodgers have a higher than normal average exit velo as a team and they still have a 250 batting average on balls in play, that would tell you that they're getting unlucky. So I would be curious because you mentioned they have a lot of thump. Now, what you're saying there is they have a lot of guys that can hit home runs. So the question is, do they have a lot of thump when they're not hitting home runs? What are the at-bats like whenever Max Muncy's not hitting a home run or Andy Pages is not hitting a home run? Shohei Ohtani has been really good at like his base hit to right field today. I think it was actually, let me get the number on it. I can tell you here in just a second just how hard he actually hit that ball. So Shohei Ohtani, the first one was 72 miles an hour, so that wasn't a very good. That was the one in the seventh. Let me give you the one early on for Shohei Ohtani as I give you time to try to look up some exit velo numbers. So just as an example for Shohei Ohtani, his first single was 106.7 miles per hour. And that was a hit, obviously. But the question's going to come down to with that, as far as the batting average on balls in play, when they're not getting base hits and not hitting home runs, are they making hard contact? Your average exit velo, I think, would go a long ways for that.
Yeah, so I'm looking up, and this is StatCast right now. So it depends on exactly what you want to look at. So let's look at a couple of different statistics to see where the Dodgers are at. If you're looking at a statistic, let's look at a statistic called barrels, which I don't know if everybody is familiar with it, so let me be able to explain it. Basically, what a barrel is, it just looks at the optimal launch angle and exit velo on which a hitter can hit the bat that's going to produce the best results. So if you get a good optimal launch angle and exit velocity coming off the bat, that's what's called a barrel. And if you're looking at barrels per plate appearances, the Dodgers are number 5 towards the top of the rank. If you're looking at hard hit percentage, and this is based off of StatCast, you're looking at, which I think looks at batted balls hit 95 miles per hour plus. Yeah. They are 4th in baseball as a team in 2025.
That includes all of their home runs and stuff, though. So what we need is a stat that takes away all their hits.
Yes. And then if you're talking about different exit velocity, if you're looking just the average exit velocity, they're about middle of the pack. And so there's a little bit.
They have more home runs than everybody, but their average middle of the pack, average exit velo, that tells you right there. If you're hitting more home runs than everybody, you should have an average exit velo that's matching that up towards the top. So if you're hitting more home runs than everybody and you only have an average exit velo in the middle, that tells you when you're not hitting home runs, you're not hitting the ball hard at all. I think that's a pretty good dead give. Am I wrong there? You're the statistician.
A little bit. There's been some times when they haven't been hitting home runs where they haven't been exactly squaring up the baseball, and so that could lead to a little bit of the hard hit. But you look at some of the other numbers, when they have been hitting the ball hard, they have been able to take advantage of that, and I think that is kind of where it's at. So with this team, I don't think they're going to sit at a 250. I think is what it is, batting average on balls in play the entire season. I expect that to be closer to at least league average, at least 300, which is going to lead to some more base hits for this club, which means that's a good thing because that means that there's more room to be able to grow as an offense as we continue to go forward, which means this offense hasn't completely hit its ceiling. And if you look at the individual performances of some of these players, they haven't hit their exact ceiling yet. Max Muncy has not hit his ceiling yet. He's still not seeing the ball incredibly well. I expect him, based on his past performance, to be able to figure things out and be able to perform well. Some of the other players haven't figured it out exactly. So with the Dodgers in their offense, I don't think it's as extreme of a player like a Kike Hernandez, who the only times that he gets hits now seemingly are home runs. But that seems to be something where the Dodgers are doing a lot of that. So then it's about taking advantage and getting some extra base runners to turn those home runs from solo home runs into those crooked numbers that leads this offense to being a little bit more successful.
Okay, man, let's get into our Down on the Farm segment. If you have anybody in the chat that you would like to see us cover down on the farm, please just let us know. I've got video, I think, just about of everybody. So, Austin, you've been to some Loons games. Let's start with you. Let's see if we get some suggestions from the crowd. Let's start with you, though, at the Great Lakes level. You've had a good time watching Josue Paula and Zaire Hope the Tank.
Yeah.
Kendall George beat out basically a routine ground ball to shortstop the other day. Lots and lots of talent. You got to see Patrick Copen on opening day shove. So take us through the Loons, and I'll throw up some video as you talk about these guys. And then if you're in the chat again, if you have anybody you want us to talk about, we will stop immediately and talk about whoever you want to.
Yeah, so I've had the privilege to be able to watch the Loons games there. They've got 5 games into their season. I had the chance to go to the opening day, to Saturday, and to the game yesterday. Should be at the games. If it happens tomorrow, I'll be at the game tomorrow, and then on Friday as well. Like, super excited about that. And there's a lot of talent, particularly offensively on this club. And I think it starts off with the 2 players that you had mentioned first, the 2 big prospects, Josue Paula and with Zaire Hope. With Josue Paula, he is coming back to Great Lakes, joined the Loons to start the second half of the season. And he's one of these guys whose eye discipline is just nuts. And it still very much is there for him. For him, it is about making that contact, being able to go out there and get those extra base hits, which during the game yesterday, I believe he had, I think it was a triple that he had Jose De Paula yesterday, I believe, also might have had another hit or another walk or so. He's had a really good, successful start to his 2025 season and really picking it up right exactly where he left off. He's continuing to go out there. He's drawing some walks and just really making a lot of difference. Same thing with Zaire Hope, except this is a newcomer to the high A level of baseball. Dodgers fans remember him from spring training, forwarding on a good performance, came in the trade with Michael Busch, which, by the way, Michael Busch is having a really good start to his 2025 season. Congratulations to him. Zaire Hope's going out there and being a really good contributor to the Great Lakes Loons offense. Had an absolute bomb for a home run on Saturday in Great Lakes, in which he hit it out to some of the fire pits out there right underneath the scoreboard. Great Lakes also had oh yeah. I had another one that was a foul ball. I believe it was opening day, in which that one went into the parking lot pretty easily. Super impressive with him. He's also had some additional base hits, I believe a couple of extra base hits as well. He's gone out there and started the season absolutely on fire. There's the home run for Zaire Hope. And he's been one of the key. It's Hope and De Paula that have started off the season really, really hot for this Loons offense, which bodes well as you believe that those could potentially be contributors to the Dodgers down the line in the future. They're going out and having a really successful start of the season. So then you get into some of the role players that are part of this Loons offense. And the leadoff hitter for this club being Kendall George. He, as we talked about before on Dodgers Dawgs, part of the Dodgers Daily Network, insane speed for him. And I think you mentioned it yesterday. First at bat of the game, beat up, just a routine ground ball to the shortstop. Just unbelievable. Today, I believe it was during today's game, stole second, then stole third, and there was a wild throw that got away from the third baseman and ended up scoring, and that's how the Loons opened up their scoring today. He can make a difference if he is able to go out there and make some consistent contact. Really excited to see the continued development of the Dodgers 2023 first-round draft pick, Kendall George. And then you get into some other players that are part of this offense. Logan Wagner had a home run during the game yesterday. I believe he had a double, in which he thought it was going to be a home run during the game on Saturday. Ended up just short. But he had some power. Hit a home run to the right center field gap, in which case that's a deep part of the outfield. He's able to work some of those. Yeah, there it is. You can see some of that power that is in there. And you look at some of the numbers that he was able to put up in Rancho last year. If he's able to replicate that, you're going to be hearing a lot about Logan Wagner. Humble kid, too. You talk about him. I don't think I've ever seen him without a smile on his face on the baseball field. Just really, really awesome kid out there. Some other players, like just talking about yesterday's game, I believe Nelson Quiros, the catcher for Great Lakes, had a really good game during the game yesterday. He went out there and he's a really good player out there, very underrated within this system. Nelson Quiros, Q.
He has a strong arm.
Went out there. Oh, he's got a really strong arm. Yeah. Yesterday had it was a 8-4 game. He made it into a 10-4 game with an extra base hit. I believe this is double, could have been a triple, but had, I believe, 3 hits during the game yesterday as well. Nelson Quiros, a little bit of sneaky pop. I know he's not displayed on the baseball field quite yet, but he will consistently push it the opposite way. But when he has a chance to be able to pull it, he can hit it for quite a ways, quite a bit of different distance too. Nelson Quiros is a guy to keep an eye out for. There's a lot of fun contributors that are part of this club. Jordan Thompson, as mentioned before, on the offense. There's Cameron Decker that's part of this offense.
How's he been doing? I haven't seen a whole lot about him.
He's played maybe 2 or 3 games or so. Hasn't really had a whole lot of time to be able to get in there quite yet, but he's somebody who I'm still waiting for those Decker bombs that are going to land on Puddle Street and Great Lakes. I'm excited to see what he's able to do. There's been some other players that have done well, like Eduardo Guerrero I believe, had a triple during the game yesterday. He's an infield prospect, young infield prospect that's part of this team. Another guy to keep an eye out for. So they've done really well. Yesterday during the game wasn't the greatest pitching performances out there, but Jesus Luna got a big strikeout with the bases loaded with the Loons up. I believe it was 7-4. Which was a crucial turning point in that game. Jesus Luna went out there.
Reminds me of Guillermo Zuniga. Remember him? Remember Guillermo? You remember Guillermo Zuniga?
A little bit, yes.
He was a free agent, pitched in the major leagues for the Cardinals. That's who Jesus Luna reminds me of. Big dude, huge.
And big dude can throw fast too. He's getting an opportunity to be able to shine, just like a guy came into the game after him, pitched 2 innings. Carson Hobbs went out there and pitched incredibly well for the Loons yesterday. Gave up the home run, gave up the solo home run, but I believe had several different strikeouts. You can see some of the breaking stuff on there is pretty wicked. It breaks quite a bit too. So just because of the last name, you're reminded just a slight bit, not exactly the same, but similar to like a Michael Hobbs when he was part of this Dodgers system. I'm excited to see the growth and development of Carson growing up in the system. And then the Von Reynoso went out there and was throwing some heat. I have no idea what the actual radar was on some of his fastballs and stuff. But he was going out there and pitched really well to close out the game. So there's some fun arms that are part of this club. A lot of fun bats that are going to be part of this Dodgers team or this Loons team, Great Lakes Loons Club. And I'm excited to see all of these pieces come together as they continue to grow and develop and become a team that can be really fun. It's been on and off so far. They've had games where they performed really well, other games where they've struggled quite a bit on pitching side, a little bit defensively as well today. But once this team grows together and is able to gel, they're going to go on a run where they're going to do extraordinarily well. And I'm excited to be able to see that. A lot of guys to keep an eye out for in Great Lakes, because they could be some of the players that could be on this Dodgers club in a couple of years, as we've seen from Justin Robleski was a Loon at this time 2 years ago. Edgardo Henriquez was a Loon and was a Dodger by the end of the season. Jack Dreyer was a Loon 2 years ago and is now with the big leagues. There's a lot of these guys that can go and make their way up. This is
Eduardo Quintero, by the way. We'll get to him.
Yeah, we'll get to him in just a second because he is not a Loon yet, but by the way that he's playing, could potentially be one pretty soon.
Eduardo Quintero, he got a cup of coffee with the Quakes last year. It didn't get comfortable, didn't show what he is capable of. Short window size. Comfortable now to begin 2025, and this dude is off to the races. This Quakes team is so fun. Yoendry Vargas and Elijah Hainline and all of these really fun dudes at the Quakes level. And they have a bunch of guys that can throw the ball about 1,000,000 miles an hour. But really the guy that has stuck off the page to me is this guy, Eduardo Quintero, because he runs, he's one of the fastest dudes in the entire, right there, just don't throw it. So if this guy adds a hit tool to right here, that would have been a base hit either way. If he adds a hit tool to the speed that he's already had, that's why he's ranked like number 7 in the Dodgers system. Go through some of his numbers if you have them right in front of you for Eduardo Quintero.
Yeah, give me just a second to be able to pull those up. But that is something to very much keep in mind with the Dodgers organization and the system. They are getting a lot of guys that are really quick. And I don't know if this must be a little bit, this is a change of philosophy a little bit, or just guys that they seem to be targeting quite a bit, is they're getting a lot of guys that are very, very fast. It is exciting to watch. The Loons obviously have Kendall George, but a guy that they have playing in the outfield right now, Cole Myers, he is very fast too. I'd like to see Kendall George and Cole Myers have a race at some point. But with Quintero down at Rancho right now, hitting 500, 579 with an 857 slugging in his 20 plate appearances to this point, has a home run, has 2 stolen bases as well. 20% walk, 20% strikeout percentage, incredibly good numbers. Obviously, very early, at this point during his season, but very good start for Quintero to start the season.
Another really, really fast guy on the Quakes team, Kellen Lindsey. The first pick we talked about, Kendall George, who was the Dodgers' first pick in 2023. Kellen Lindsey was the first pick in 2024, both with 80 grade speed, one a center fielder, one an infielder. Kellen Lindsey, he's shown flashes of what he is capable of doing and still very, very young. So can you talk a little bit about him, Kellen Lindsey?
Yeah, I obviously have not a chance to see Kellen Lindsey a whole lot yet. I'm excited to see what he's able to do. Obviously, the speed is very much a component out there. He's still developing or still working through the early parts of the season, so the numbers aren't necessarily fantastic yet. I believe just a 75 WRC plus, but you're talking about 3 games that you're talking about, the sample size. You're going to give him more time and you're going to let him develop into the type of player that the Dodgers drafted. And I'm very excited to see what he's able to grow into.
Yeah. 2 more guys I wanted to talk about on the Quakes. This is Yoendry Vargas, and this guy has a lot of swag to him. He kind of has that, I don't know, the Dodgers fans are going to. So if you could take all the good swag of Fernando Tatis Jr., that's kind of what Yoendry Vargas reminds me of. Without all of the just kind of the douchebagginess that comes with Fernando Tatis Jr., if you could remove all that and keep all the good part of his swag, that's what Yoendry Vargas reminds me of. He is really showing off his skills early on with Rancho. So do you have his numbers in front of you there, Austin?
Yeah, so far in Rancho, 4 games. There's a very limited sample size. I will repeat that repeatedly when we're talking about these guys. But hitting 375, 474, 500, that's a 178 WRC plus. Has a triple, 3 stolen bases as well. 16% walk, 26% strikeout percentage. He's very much doing really well right now. I'm excited to see him continue to grow and develop in Rancho.
Okay, the last guy we're going to talk about, then we're going to get out of here because it's getting to be just about past my bedtime, and that is this young man here. Well, no, actually, you're going to see some defense, but it's Hae-Sung Kim. So Dodgers fans they're clamoring for Hae-Sung. I mean, I love that play right there. They're clamoring for Hae-Sung Kim to be promoted to the major league. So give us a rundown, break him down statistically so far.
So statistically so far, in which we're talking about 45 different plate appearances. We always start off, usually when I'm talking about these players, start off with the triple slash line average on base percentage slugging, and then give the WRC plus 308, 386, 487. So he's hitting 308, 386 on base percentage, 487 slugging. That equates to a 125 WRC plus. Remember, the league that he is in, the Pacific Coast League, very much a hitter friendly environment. So the 308 sounds really, the 308 is a little bit different than a 308 in snowy Midwest.
Yeah, but they've been at Sugarland and Oklahoma City. They haven't been to the high elevation places yet.
I totally agree. And a lot of that stuff is key. I'm just saying that just to keep it in mind.
Understood.
To keep in mind, not to degrade anything that Hae-Sung Kim has done to this point. Walk percentage is about 9% right now, so that's right around league average-ish for him. Strikeout percentage is a little bit high at about 29%, 28.9% to this point. Not including any the game that is currently happening right now. ISO is about 179, which is a lot higher than I think what we would have anticipated, because he's hitting for more extra base hits when he's getting hits. He's got 12 base hits, 6 of which have been for extra bases. He has 5 doubles. He's got a triple on there as well. He also has 4 stolen bases. He's 4 for 4 when he's talking about stolen base attempts. So he's going out there and stealing some bases. He's hitting the ball well. He's getting some of that gap to gap type of power, which is really good to be able to see him go do. Strikeouts remain a little bit high for him to this point from what we've seen so far, but he's going out there playing a lot of games so far. As talking about games played, again, not talking about the game today, 3 games at second base, 3 games at 3 games at shortstop, and 3 games in center field. Those exact up the middle positions that a player like a Tommy Edman is able to help cover. Ha-Sung Kim is also some additional insurance to be able to fill in those positions, and they're giving him plenty of time to be able to fill into all of those positions and grow into that. But really, the thing that is holding Ha-Sung Kim back to this point is that bat, wanting to make sure that he's able to iron out all of these different things and to be able to see a lot of different pitchers at the minor league level that will showcase some of the stuff that Ha-Sung Kim will see repeatedly at the major league level. Not just the stuff, but the consistent execution that a lot of these guys are going to be able to be able to face that challenge. I continue to be patient with Ha-Sung Kim as he makes this development curve or learns and transfers over to America, transfers over to professional baseball over here. And based on the way that he's hitting right now, if he continues with a lot of these performances, it might be a little bit of a different player than we would have anticipated. Yeah. But there's a lot to be excited about if he continues to produce as he has been doing to this point. 125 WRC plus. That'll play.
Yeah, Alex Freeland, the last guy we're going to talk about, then we're going to get out of here. Where is he at from a statistical perspective? I think he's probably pretty good because he's been hot as of late. Played some third base, played some shortstop. So where are we at there? You're seeing batting practice from him from media day.
Yeah, so Alex Freeland, another one of these guys that you have to keep an eye out for because he's at Oklahoma City. He's on the cusp of making it to major leagues, and especially with the Dodgers having to make a decision, probably based on some of the early results, although it's still very early, probably an easy decision because he's going to be eligible for the Rule 5 draft following this season. But important to keep in mind for him as far as the future of where they want to play him. To this point of the season, he's hitting .333, .420 on base percentage, and a .476 slugging. I don't think that includes this does not include the performance that he's had today, which I believe he had another hit and maybe another walk at least before he jumped on the show. So 134 so far WRC plus to this point of the season. 12% walk percentage, 24% strikeout percentage, perhaps a little bit high on the strikeout percentage. We'll continue to keep an eye out for that. That was something that we wanted to keep an eye out with Alex Freeland. 143 ISO. Been in a lot of singles, not necessarily as much extra base hits, although he does have 3 doubles and 1 home run. 5 stolen bases, so he's going to go out there and get quite a bit of stolen bases. He's probably going to be a guy that could hit 30 stolen bases, 31 stolen bases.
He's done it every season so far.
31 past 2 seasons. You combine all of his different numbers out there. He's been very effective at that. Positionally, this is where it gets a little bit interesting because they're maneuvering and playing a Ha-Sung Kim all over the place. They're also playing an Alex Freeland a little bit at different positions, primarily at shortstop and third base. 3 games at third base, filling in when Ha-Sung Kim is playing at the shortstop position, and then 7 games at shortstop, which is his primary position or where he's played the most throughout his entire career at the minor league level. Also has played a little bit of second base, although it hasn't been a lot. That was mostly when they had to juggle Noah Miller and Alex Freeland at the Great Lakes level, but has played a little bit of that and potentially could if necessarily. However, they're keeping him at either shortstop or third base to this point in the season. Having a really good start to this season, or at least recently been a really hot hitter at the plate. Alex Freeland is a guy to keep an eye out for. He's very much has risen throughout this system, and I'm excited to see him continue to grow and develop.
All right, man, it's been a great show, a lot of fun. So we've talked all about all the different situations with the big club. Can't wait to get back home, get that 48-hour period off. The Dodgers fly back tonight. They're going to sleep in their own beds. They'll get all day off tomorrow. Don't have to be at the stadium. If I was David, I'd be at the stadium about 5:30. I kid there. But seriously, really, I mean, just take the whole 48 hours off, rest, and recharge your batteries, and absolutely get ready to go. What is it, Friday night and against the Cubs, a really good Cubs team. Different Cubs team the Dodgers saw in Tokyo. So great down the farm there, Austin. Appreciate all your statistics there. So any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'm hoping this snowstorm kind of goes away a little bit. I watch some Loons baseball. That put a little bit of a bummer on this. I was planning on going to a Loons game, doing a little bit of Funky Feather. Turned out they didn't end up winning the game, so there wouldn't have been as much Funky Feather during the game today. But I'm excited for those games coming up and continue to see the development of the Loons players. With the Dodgers side, this is something that's been something that I've preached, and it's not just something with Andy Pages, who you might have a little bit of a different opinion or evaluation on, but something that I will continue to preach with these Dodgers team is patience. Allow the larger sample size to take hold of all of these guys and allow them to work, to grow, and to develop as this season goes along and figure things out. Usually, once there is a long enough time period, the talent will overcome. And I believe this Dodgers team is as talented as any team, perhaps, and probably more talented than any team in Major League Baseball. And I think that's going to lead them to winning a lot of games. It is still my expectation, despite it being a very competitive battle, early stages in the National League West, that they're going to win the National League West. I'm still very excited about the Dodgers season coming up in 2025. We are just 14 or 15 games in. We've got a long way to go, and I can't wait for the rest of it.
Absolutely, Austin. Thanks so much, man. For Austin Brubaker, I'm Casey Porter. As always, I want to thank you for tuning in to Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Again, Dodgers win today to end the road trip, and they're headed back home. So until next time, I'm Casey Porter. It's a great day to be a Dodger.